at a public meeting on Monday, April 13th, 2026. The time is now 6:02 p.m. This is a working meeting to deal with town meeting optics with the moderator and to review and vote to insert and recommend articles in the town meeting warrant. We will not be taking public comment at this particular meeting. Does anyone on the board have any announcements before we proceed?
It's not an announcement, but I'll see how long I can sit in this position, and then I'll let you know if I'm switching. So it just if somebody keep an eye out if I switch computers.
Oh, okay. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Hi, Barbara.
Yeah, so Mr. Chairman, I just want to say I'm very glad to see Ryan back in an upright position for now. Look forward to having him back in person.
Well, thanks.
Sheila? Did you have something?
No, I was just going to say, I agree. Copy that.
Okay, in that case, I'll turn it over to...
I will make an announcement if anybody's listening, or I could wait till tomorrow night, but on April 22nd, the county commissioners are having their meeting at the Adult Community Center, and it will be posted as a virtual meeting. Just wanted to say that.
Marathon talks in Islamabad this weekend.
That's not me.
That's JP.
Turning fragile ceasefire into a broader agreement. Instead, both sides
terrible
walked
news.
away.
Hold on. I'll get it.
Bye, Swalwell.
I think that's bad news for Ryan, it's bad news for the United States of America.
Not that I minded that.
You're good.
Okay.
I'm done. Thank you.
So you want to re-announce that? Because that you kind of got...
Okay, so it's on Wednesday, April 22nd. So it's a week from this Wednesday. It will be at 10 o'clock and it will be held at the Adult Community Center in person. And they're inviting members of the board and different departments. And we're bringing different departments to talk about how we all interface together and any other issues we'd like to collaborate on. And of course, we'd love to hear from the public. So the public is welcome.
The county commission?
Yes, this is the Cape Cod County Commissioners. They have 2 meetings a month, and 1 meeting we're having on the road. And this road trip is bringing us to Wellfleet. So
Great. Okay, well,
thank you.
Did you get them all visas?
Yeah, right.
To get past the Pink Bridge?
Yes.
Good.
We'll be getting to that point soon enough, Danny.
Without further ado, then I will turn it over to you, Dan.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just the agenda item, I think, was supposed to say town meeting topics, not town meeting optics. That was a typo and a spoonerism, but
I changed it.
I know you did. But I like the concept of optics. In any case, I want to start off by thanking you for taking out those couple of items off the warrant. I noticed that the charter change is going to be moved to the fall. I wasn't sure whether it was something else, so I appreciate you taking the suggestions that I made at your last meeting. I wanted to discuss with you tonight the logistics of how we're going to handle the upcoming meeting. There's been, I don't go on social media, but my wife every now and then will hold up her phone and say, take a look at this. And kind of based on the 2 petitioned articles and a lot of the chatter around town, I more or less expect a larger voter turnout than we normally have. The gym's capacity, I talked to the fire chief and the building inspector, and the legal listed capacity of the Wellfleet Elementary School gymnasium is larger than I thought. It's actually 558. That's calculated as 321 in the bleachers and something like 227, I think, or 237 on the floor, for a total of 558. Now, we've had probably 400, maybe a little more than that, in the gym for meetings in the past, not frequently. But that, the gym does get kind of crowded at that level. If we go to the full rated capacity, I think the gym would be very full. There's a couple of options that are available to us. A state statute says basically that you've got to be able to provide for all the voters, and if voters more than a room can handle show up, the moderator is more or less required to either adjourn the meeting or move it to another location. That's not something I want to be faced with doing at the last meeting. So I've already had a couple of conversations about what some of our options might be. The first, and there are towns that do this on a regular basis. Some towns on the Cape, a lot of towns off Cape, where they have the meeting in more than one room. And the requirements for that are that you have two-way audio. It's not required that voters be able to see everyone who's speaking, but they do need to be able to hear all of the speakers and back and forth from both rooms. So we would need some sort of a two-way audio hookup. I did speak briefly to JP about this, and in terms of how we would work that out, whether we would try to do it, in some wireless capacity, like something like Zoom, which I'm not a big fan of because I think it's kind of glitchy, or whether we, hardwire something. I talked to the principal at the elementary school, Adam O'Shea, who was, very cooperative. He said that if we wanted to use the cafeteria, he could certainly make that available to us. Problem is, a lot of the towns that do this, they do it in two rooms.
And is it
The rooms are adjacent to one another, so it's relatively easy for a speaker to get up, come into the main room, make their point, and go back to the adjoining room. And you just have to have then speakers, maybe microphones in both rooms. Where at the elementary school, the gym and the cafeteria are separated by the length of the school, the logistics of that might be a little trickier to work out, but it is one option that's available. The second option is to meet perhaps at the high school in Eastham. For the first 20 years that I lived here, from the first meeting I went to was 1973 through 1992, or up until 1992, we met at the auditorium in the high school. And I sort of always wondered how we did it, because state statute does say you have to have your meetings within the boundaries of town unless there's either a charter provision, a bylaw, or a special law that allows you to meet out of town. Well, thanks to Harry Turkanian, who suggested I get in touch with. When I asked him, I called Harry and I said, how were we able to meet in the school? And he said, gee, I'm not really sure. He said, why don't you ask town council? So with Tom's approval, I got a hold of town council, and Carolyn got back to me relatively quickly and found that in 1972, the town had a special piece of legislation, a special act of the legislature, and I think a copy of that should have been in your packets for tonight, that does allow the town of Wellfleet to meet at the Nauset Regional High School in Eastham with the approval of the Nauset Regional School Committee. So we did have legal authorization to do it those 20 years that we did it. And Carolyn's opinion is that law was never removed from the books, and so we still do have the legal authorization to meet in Eastham. It's late in the game to be trying to plan this, but I spoke to Jackie Beebe on Friday, and she gave me a little bit of insight into actually how they work it. The two meeting spaces that would make sense there would be either the gym or the auditorium. They use the gym because they have more people than they think the auditorium can comfortably handle. The auditorium would probably handle everybody, but we would expect at a meeting. But the auditorium is not available on the dates that we have our town meeting plan. They're beginning their dress rehearsals for their spring musical that they do. So I spoke to the assistant principal today. I went to the high school and met with him, and talked about the possibility of using the gymnasium. And he got back to me late this afternoon and said, as far as he knows, he didn't hear back from either the the athletic director or somebody else that he mentioned, but that he thinks that it would probably be possible for us to meet in the gym. This would require some other logistics that are a little bit complicated. They require that the floor be covered. We would have to rent chairs probably from a rental company. They don't provide chairs. There wouldn't be any cost to us. They don't charge municipalities to rent the facility, but we would have to pay for a custodian. But I think we probably pay for the custodian at the elementary school anyway. She may be there normally, but we may only have to pay a little bit of overtime. So there are some costs involved with that as well. So I wish I had a little more time to work this out. I didn't get a chance to get back to Jackie today to find out exactly how they do it. But Jackie told me that they rent chairs, they rent tables for the select board and the FinCom and so forth. She said they've got a pretty good audio system there. The other possibility is we could certainly bring the audio system that we have here that we use. That's it's basically 4 big boxes that can be carried down there. But I wish I knew a little bit more about what would entail in that. Now, Eastham is having their meeting in the gym a week before ours on May 4th, and I can certainly go there, see how they set up and so forth, and then get some insights into how they do that. So it's kind of neither of these options are great in some ways. I mean, I think I kind of like the idea that I would prefer it if we could meet all in one room. I think that the logistics of trying to meet in 2 separate rooms are a little iffy. It's not something we've ever done. Not the entire time I've been at Wellfleet, and probably not any time before that. That's not something to say that we couldn't work that out, and people would at least be going to a venue that they were familiar with. Would people feel like they were second-class citizens if they were sitting in the cafeteria? Hopefully not, if they can hear things going both ways. The other possibility is, have that available as a backup and hope that we don't need it. If in fact we can get somewhere on the high side of 400 people, or close to 500 people in the main gymnasium, fine, we would go with that and operate. The other alternative is to say, let's make sure that we have a big enough space. Go to Eastham and get used to that idea, and that may be something that for the future we find is a more comfortable space. I would love it if we could use the auditorium, but that would take much more advanced planning than we have right now. So with that said, and that's a lot, I know, to absorb, and I apologize for kind of going on and laying out all of the kind of the issues both ways. When you close a warrant, you're going to have to tell people where the meeting is going to be. It is possible that you could go a little bit longer and not close the warrant until your meeting next week, because state statute and our charter only require that the warrant be closed 14 days in advance of the meeting. Now, we have a little bit more time than we normally would have, because we don't have to mail the warrants anymore. But I'd have to defer to Rebecca and Tom and say, how long do you need to get the 1,000 or so copies that we have to print back in town so that they can be distributed to anybody who wants them? And we still have to get postcards out. So, I would love it if we could not have to make a decision and I could get a little more information from you, but I'm not sure we have a whole lot of time to try to do that. So, we're kind of faced with, a number of options here, none of which are ideal, but I don't want to be in a situation where we, have more people than we can comfortably handle and have to adjourn the meeting. So I'd like to, make, one contingency or another. So that's all I got for the moment.
Before I go to you, Sheila, I just wanted to ask, if we went to using additional rooms at the school, how would we handle A, voice votes, and B,
Counted votes.
Counted votes?
Yeah, well, if you're using two rooms, I would have to appoint an assistant moderator. And that's the assistant moderator monitors the second venue, the second room.
Right.
They call on people, and somebody wants to speak, they raise their hand, and you can go back and forth, alternating between microphones in two rooms. We don't do those voice votes anymore. We do votes by a show of voter cards. So I would call for a vote. I'd say everybody in favor, say aye. Everybody in each of the two rooms would hold up their voter cards, and the assistant moderator would say, it appears that the vote has passed in this venue and in the main room and in the overflow room. If we had to count, we would need tellers in both. If it was not clear, or if one room voted in favor and the other room voted against, I think we'd been in a situation where we had to count the votes. But a good number of our votes, go through without significant, numbers on one side or another. But that's how it would have you. I would have to have it. I would appoint somebody as an assistant moderator. They would be monitoring and kind of running the show in the overflow venue. And we'd need tellers for that venue as well. So
Sounds doable. Sheila? You had your hand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'd like to ask Danny a question. Did you look into the cost of renting?
No.
Okay, because I do want to say it is somewhat expensive. I mean, I have done this in the summertime, and they're much higher in demand and that sort of thing. And what I've resorted to do is give donations to the COA and the church, and they have loaned us their chairs, which comes out to a couple of hundred. It's not going to be what you need.
Yeah.
You're still going to need more, but the logistics, all I just want to say is that it is more expensive than you think, especially depending on how far away these people are that you're able to secure them from.
Mhm.
And I do think that it is a logistical problem, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get around it this year, but I did want to say that there are, you can sort of get some of those chairs without having to pay, and then figure out how many exist that you can put your hands on and how many. Now, the ones from the church, you've got to load into a truck, hand load. The other ones, you can actually just kind of wheel that thing there and load them, and then load them back onto the racks. So that's a little easier to do with the COA chairs. But I've worked around that before. So
do you know offhand how many chairs the COA has?
I think they had, I think between the two of them, I think they had about 100, 110. And it's similar for the church.
Which church is it?
The Congo.
Oh, okay.
They have, and they're really nice. They bought new chairs, so they have them in this shed, and you can go in. If they say sure, you just go in. I'll show you where the key is, and you just go in and pull them out, and then put them back in.
Well, this is going to be something we're going to, it's going to fall on the DPW to try to get, they're the ones who set up the room the day of, morning of, and if it's, a matter of bringing the chairs from the COA
and then getting them back and
getting them back and so forth. And then, if we have it would not surprise me if this meeting takes 2 days. That's the other thing for me to say. Looking at the length of the warrant and the subject matter, I kind of expect that we're not going to be able to get this done in one night. But
well, I just wanted to give you my little input there.
Yeah, no, that's
may be possible, but it is work.
Yeah,
but it can save you a few dollars.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, it'd save you a few dollars. I don't know.
Well, you'll save the town a few dollars.
This is coming at it.
Save all of us a few dollars.
But
yeah.
Tom's grinding his teeth already. I can tell.
Yeah, I know.
You got to unmute. There you go.
Oh, I didn't hear you that you called on me. Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. If I may, I'd like to just share some experiences from Truro, which I think are relevant to this discussion. Number one, the additional rooms really does not work that well. You have to have the assistant moderator tally votes, report to the moderator. There's back and forth. And it also just does not feel like town meeting. I'd add that. So if you want to discuss that further, you could talk to Kelly to see what her thoughts are, but I would recommend against that just based on our experience. The second thing is that 2 years ago, at a special town meeting, there was turnout which greatly exceeded the capacity. And it was indoors for the first time in a couple of years. And so what happened was there were, hundreds of people outside, and it was at capacity. So a determination was made that town meeting could not be held. And there was, after some kerfluffles, there was a vote to set another date for town meeting in the spring where it could be outdoors, under a tent, so that there could be, full attendance. So I don't know if that is an option that you talked about with council or whether that's something we want to consider, but I mean, it seems to be an alternative. And if we could do it on the fly in Truro, I would imagine that we could also sort of know in advance that that's what we would be doing. So I just wanted to suggest that as a possibility.
Let me make sure I understand you. You're suggesting that we try to have it in the one room, and then if we end up with overcapacity, we then adjourn to another date certain.
Correct. That's one. So that would be, through the chair, that would be one way of doing it, or we could decide in advance that that's what we were going to do.
Well, yeah, that's kind of
more or less the same. Yeah, more or less the same thing. I'm just suggesting it as an alternative, based on experiences in Truro, for now, not expressing an opinion on it, but I didn't know if you had a chance to talk about that with council.
I did not, but yeah, there's some, I don't know if I have them right. There's some statutory requirements for the meeting has to take, if a meeting that's adjourned because of overcapacity, I think it has to take place within the next 14 days, or it has to be re-advertised. I don't have that right in front of me, but I know there are some statutory requirements for how you put the meeting off and then reschedule and re-advertise. Sure. And notice the voters that it's going to be changed. I think Tom and I talked briefly about, could we get a big tent again and do it outside? My understanding from Tom is that the ball field is still a construction site, and that wouldn't even be an option. So somebody.
Yeah, I mean, Chair, I was just saying I know there's statutory requirements, but it was accomplished in Truro, kind of on the fly with town council there. So it's probably doable from a legal point of view.
Yeah.
Whether it's practical is a different question, but I just wanted to raise it as a potential alternative without expressing an opinion at the moment.
Okay. Thanks.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Fine. Ryan.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't hear you again. So I think it's important to try to keep the people together. I don't really like the idea of subdividing town meeting. It just really it seems that one side would have, I don't know, it would be like inferior scope participation, or could lead to a lot of confusion. I just want everybody to have the same opportunity as everybody else. I don't think there's a great option right now. I wish there was. But I really think it's important to have the body stay as a single body, and not be subdivided. So
I agree. I would like to try to find a way to do it in one room.
Josh?
I agree with my colleagues on trying to stay together. I think if we went a tent route, we would likely have to change the date and time because we'd want to do it during daylight. But we could explore Baker Field if the ball field isn't, you know.
I suggested that and was told I'd have to give everybody a down parka.
It's not only that, if it rains, it's pretty,
Well, we would get
soggy.
it. Well, yeah, I mean, we would have to put a tent up before anyways, I would imagine. I'm just,
Just
yeah.
FYI, when we did our couple of town meetings outdoors during COVID, we didn't try to get a big enough tent that would accommodate all of the voters. I think we just sort of we took our chance, that it was going to be a good day, and I think we had a total of 4 meetings outside, and we lucked out every time. I wouldn't want to push that luck a lot farther. Truro, I believe, when I was talking to somebody, I remember the planning board, I think, and he said they get a big enough tent that accommodates everyone. And if we were to go that route again, I would suggest that we be able to accommodate. Now, we're not under COVID restrictions, so we can put the chairs closer. That was one of the issues, was we were trying to put chairs 2 at a time and then separate them 6 feet, so we didn't make the best use we could of the tent. But there's logistical problems with that. I mean, I love the idea of a daytime outdoor meeting, but again, if a cold day or a rainy day could make things. And again, I think Baker Field is problematic in terms of wind, in terms of what that field gets like, and I don't know if there's irrigation under there as well. I know that has been an issue at the main ball field. I think Tom and I talked briefly. Could you set a tent up behind Town Hall the way they do for Oyster Fest? Yeah, but then you've taken all the parking away, and there isn't a ton of parking in the center of town, absent the Town Hall parking lot. So,
what if we had it at the marina?
That's what I was going to just suggest, by the bandstand. Bandstand going back.
Well, again, that's a possibility, and we would hope rent a big tent, and they can put a tent on a hard surface. I know that. We'd have to again either rent chairs or move the chairs from the. I don't know if the school wants their chairs outdoors and so forth. We rented chairs when we did the outdoor meetings, and I assume that DPW has all the information on that.
That gives direct exposure, especially to a southwest wind.
Yep.
And Mr. Chair, if I could ask another question.
I'd like to finish. I'd like to get a word in too, if I could. A problem I have with the daytime outdoor meeting is the people that work, that therefore couldn't attend. Question I have about a remote meeting, at the school or something, is what happens with the daycare aspect?
Good point.
Have to consider that.
Yeah, we haven't had a lot of subscription to that. I don't know if anybody's taken us up on that. And were they using the cafeteria? I don't remember. I don't think they were. I think they were using there's like a play group, an after school play group facility. I think that's what they were using for the daycare. So I don't think it would affect that.
Well, I mean, if we had to move to the high school.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I misunderstood.
Because we might, and we would. I would think we would want to continue that practice, and I'm not sure how we would do that there. It would just be an added thing we'd have to find out about.
We'd need to get another room for that purpose at the high school, but I know that Suzanne Thomas has been reminded that we need the daycare for the town meeting, so.
Okay, well, she might have to be brought into this discussion then, especially if we,
Yeah.
Now, Josh?
Thank you. The special legislation that allows us to have town meeting outside of Wellfleet, is it specific to the high school? Is that why that's the okay?
Yep.
So
Take a look. It's in your packet.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
Yeah. Hold town meetings or any adjournment thereof at the Northwood Regional High School building in the town of Eastham. Well, the other thing we have to do is if we wanted to do that, we have to somebody has to get in touch with the school committee, the regional school committee, have to get their okay as well. I can't imagine they would say no. But
And
I wish I had a good answer. I really do, and I wish I had a little more time to kind of game this out. But it only I kind of assumed, I didn't even know that was an option until like Thursday of last week. But I mean, I guess the other possibility is take our chances that, as I say, our normal attendance at town meeting the past couple of years has been in the mid 200s, 220 to 240, 250, something like that. If we got another 200 people above that, that's a lot more people. That still would keep us within the legal limit of the gym. Might be a little crowded. I'm not sure we can set up a whole lot more chairs on the floor than we do. Janice and I were talking about that this afternoon, and she's saying, I don't think, we probably could. We could probably put a few more rows of chairs on either side, but the only thing is then is a calculated risk that we would have to cancel a meeting day of. Everybody shows up and the registrars say we've now checked in, and you have to remember too that it's not just necessarily 500 voters or 550 voters. We have town staff who are there. We have non-residents or non-voters who sometimes like to come. Now we could say, if it looks like it's close, we could say, sorry, no non-voters, you're all going to have to leave. Town staff needs to be there to answer questions, so we can, we need to accommodate them. So in addition to whatever count of voters we have, we also, how many staff come to the meeting? Maybe 15, somewhere.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, probably about that, between the harbor master and the DPW director and so forth. But so, and there, it isn't like there's significant numbers of non-voting residents or non-voting interested parties. But if it looked like it was close to capacity, we could say, I'm sorry, but we can't admit non-voters. But that would be a calculated gamble. Am I willing to take it? Yeah, but it's really kind of your call.
Rebecca, you had your hand up.
No, it's actually JP.
Oh,
I'm just using this account to monitor the meeting. So I just wanted to chime in a little bit. I have done this before where you separate like into a different room on a premises. I've done it in Brewster numerous times. It's a little tricky, but the way we did it, and you all can decide how you want to do this. I'm just saying it's possible. But the way we've always done it is we have an extended room. Hang on. We have an extended room, or actually in Brewster it was in the library in Stony Brook, and we run a smart screen there, and we run the Zoom, a closed circuit Zoom of the meeting. So in other words, the public would not access it online. It would just be us using the Zoom signal to send whatever audio proceedings are coming from the other room into the separate rooms, in this case, cafeteria. We have a separate small sound system in there, which you already have in the cafeteria. But when I've done this before, we have a separate sound system that taps into the main sound system we're using on the floor of where the meeting is taking place. And then the moderator and assistant moderator, the moderator has a walkie-talkie, and the assistant moderator has a walkie-talkie. And as they go through an article and you address, the moderator then would defer to the assistant moderator, and that person would come up to talk on the microphone. And then when you take a vote, same thing. So, there would be a direct communication by walkie-talkie to the assistant moderator. And then, but the only question I don't know the answer to, now I know there's a sound system in the cafeteria. In order for me to even understand if, how we could do this with an overflow room, I would need to know if that sound system, and this was, and I think it was, I think it was Dan told me this. He thinks maybe that sound system in the cafeteria also goes out to the entire school.
I talked to Adam, the principal, the other day. It does not.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's only for the cafeteria. So there would need to be some other way of linking that up, or having that sound transmitted back to the main hall, to the gym.
So what it would take is, so one thing, you know, it would be, and I'm just describing this scenario, and also I don't know if there's a sound system at the gym at the high school. Is that something that the town would have to provide? Like, you know, we would take the sound system that we use for town meeting at town hall to the school, but that's separate. I'll stick with the separate room. So what would happen is you would use the PA system in the cafeteria, and you would have the Zoom recording go into that PA system. So you could hear everybody in the room. And then the question is, and I think we could do this, I think we could also communicate back. As I recall, IT, the county had a talkback box that we could use. I'm not sure it would work in this circumstance. So I would have to look into that, but using Zoom to talk back. But if not, then we run one cable, and then we probably have to rent the cable from the sound system in the cafeteria out that back door of the cafeteria, down the steps, across the grass, and into the main auditorium to go into the sound system. Now, my hope would be we could use the Zoom audio to, you know, use in the cafeteria and run that into the Zoom so it comes back into the other room. I hope I'm not losing everybody in this.
No, I kind of get it.
Yeah, but that's a vague idea. Now, of course, I really need time for me and my crew to really go over there and test this and see how we could do it, where we could find really long cable. I know somebody I could probably get it from. And we would also need, besides the system in the auditorium, we would need somebody to be monitoring, and I could have Gabriel do that. He's really good at this, monitoring the system in cafeteria. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there for you guys, because in case I have done that before several times and it worked.
Thank you. Ryan?
Yeah, just briefly, so, you know, we were having the same conversation coming out of COVID, because our attendance at those town meetings were really, really high, when we did them outdoors. I remember, the moderator thinking there might be a provision that would allow us to hold it in Eastham if necessary. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank him for finally tracking that down. But yeah, this kind of does mirror some of the conversations we were having at that point, which included, you know, would we have to have a second room for people? How would we do that? You know, all of that based off the attendance that we were getting at the outdoor meetings. So
Sheila?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was wondering if we considered utilizing the space on the stage as seating. How many seats could you get on the stage, and maybe put a microphone there so people wouldn't have to come down? They could go right to a mic. You add an extra row all around. And you know, it all depends. I mean, at least they're in the room. You could put them at an angle where they could see, you know, where everybody had a vision somehow. Maybe you could accommodate enough overflow right there on the stage.
It's not a bad idea. I don't know how Justin, has calculated the capacity, and I asked him. I didn't get an answer back. I noticed that the date this certificate of occupancy or whatever, I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but this capacity listing is dated from 2005, and that was before the school was sprinkled. And whether that changes the capacity calculations or not, I've got a query into him as to whether maybe is the capacity any more because we now have sprinklers, life safety hazards a little less. Is that capacity ultimately for the space, whether we use the gym or not? And if I don't want to ask either Joe or Justin to kind of close their eyes if we're close but a little bit over, but that's whether I think Sheila's idea is a great one. I think you probably could throw another 30, 40, 50 chairs on the stage there, and then we would be in that same room. I guess it's really hard to get a sense of whether or not we would have more than 500 people come to town meeting. I mean, I'd be thrilled if we had 1,000 people come to every meeting, but
Be unbelievable.
it's never happened.
Right.
As I say, probably the biggest meetings, even the ones we had outside, we weren't even close to 500 people. I don't think. I'd have to go back and look, but we were in the high threes, maybe low fours for those meetings.
Okay. Well, we've been on this for. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, the sense I'm getting from the board is that you wanted to stay in one room and you'd rather stay in town. Is that more or less the consensus?
Well, let me go around the room. Barbara?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was just gonna see how, like, when we have to make this decision, and are we gonna discuss it again? That was my question.
Well, you have to make the decision when you close the warrant, or before you close the warrant, because the warrant itself says where you're calling people to come meet. So.
Okay, and then what is our plan? Are we doing our usual thing of we will decide when we're closing the warrant, or have we set a date for it?
I thought you were doing it
We're
tonight.
closing the warrant.
We didn't set a date because I don't like setting a date.
I know.
I brought that up because it always seems to come up that something
And
happens.
with all due respect, Mr. Curley, it drives the town administrator crazy.
Right.
Okay, so
Can I suggest you to ask Rebecca and Tom what's like the minimal lead time you need to get it printed, get it back into town, distribute it to the post office and the library, and then get those postcards out, because the postcards probably should say also where the meeting is.
Rebecca, you've been dealing with the printer.
I can put a rush order and probably have them back in a week, but that's pushing it.
Okay.
So if the board were through the chair, I'm sorry, John. If the board were to hold off a week so we can get the logistics figured out, would that throw the printer off?
No, and I'll double check with them tomorrow. That would be fine.
Okay.
You have a meeting on the 21st, correct?
Correct.
Yes. If we could hold it off till then, I could probably work with the printers to get it back. So if you want to wait until the 21st to figure out the logistics, that I could make that work.
In that case, I would suggest that that we all use the intervening week to talk to people we know, and try to get a cross-section of views on what they would like to see. Because obviously, we're not going to please everybody with our decision. Somebody's not going to like it, but I think it would be good to, dip our fingers in the water and see what the temperature is. Let's see who had their hand up first. Josh?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be wise to understand what are the financial implications of Nauset Regional High School, just understanding what that would cost. But my intuition, understanding that even at our highest attended meetings, push into the 300s and not into 500, that I would be comfortable planning for a town meeting at the elementary school with an overflow room set up if needed, so that we didn't. I think the worst case scenario is that everyone shows up and we have to adjourn the meeting. And I want to try to avoid that. It's a good problem to have that we're anticipating civic engagement. And I think that it should just be said. But if understanding that, we started discussing this for the first time 45 minutes ago, my gut tells me that we want to hold this at the elementary school and prepare for overflow. But I think that's a small but unlikely scenario, just given historical numbers of attendance.
Ryan?
So I really don't want to wait a week to make a decision. The public needs enough time, both to, understand where the meeting is, because, sometimes it passes through word of mouth. But also have enough time, to look at the warrant and figure out what what their opinions are on the various articles and things of that nature. So I really wouldn't want to hold off closing. If we're in a place where all the articles are done tonight, I would really want to close the warrant tonight and provide that to the public, and also provide them with where the meeting is expected to be. I think it's really important. I don't want to get into a situation where we're literally 2 weeks out of the meeting, and people are unsure of where we're going to hold it. I understand the issue. There's not a perfect solution here. Ideally the gym at the elementary school would be twice as big or something along that nature. But I wouldn't want to hold off making a decision. And I think it's really important to do so to provide clarity. So.
Dan?
Okay, well, yeah, I think I get a sense of where the board is going with this. Ideally, I would have had a little more time. Would the board be willing to entertain in the future the possibility, or maybe in the fall? Is this something that I should explore further with the town of Eastham and with the school and so forth? But when we have a little more time, if we could use the auditorium, it would certainly be more comfortable for everybody. Or do we want to continue, regardless, to hold it in the gym going forward? And and then in the meanwhile, for this meeting, I will work with JP. I'll talk to the DPW. I'll talk to Suzanne about, can we get chairs from the senior center to supplement what we have over there, and talk to the elementary school principal about perhaps using the stage as well. So, but if it's the will of the board to stay in town this time, we'll do the best we can.
Barbara?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chairman. I agree with Ryan that we should decide tonight so we have some certainty and don't put this off. I am in favor of holding the meeting in Eastham. So that would be my vote. Thank you.
Okay. As far as the viewpoints of the citizens are concerned, I think we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. There's going to be somebody that's going to say that, oh, you're trying to what's the word, suppress the vote because of controversial issues by holding it at the school, and others are going to say you're putting second-class citizens in a separate room. So I don't really think that needs to be a consideration. We're just going to do the best we can to do the right thing here. Sheila?
Okay, it does look like everybody wants to do it here. I do think that it is worth exploring those things regardless, just to answer Danny's question, because we may find ourselves here before again. So if we do anticipate it, we know what the drill will be. And I also, I'm not opposed to not doing it tonight, deciding tonight, because even if we decided by the end of the week, say there was a check-in and we did a Zoom and said, yes, we're confirming this is what we're going to do. You had all the logistics. How much will it cost if we needed to rent? JP could go and look at how could it be done. if we had to use the overflow room, and how many chairs can get on the stage. I think that, I was just invited to a thing, and it was a political thing, but still, they change venues at the very last minute. And by God, everybody got that email and got the numerous texts and the emails, and we would have even more room than that. We'd have 3 weeks to put out PSAs. We'd have there's boards on the highway that tell you where it's going to be. We could make sure emails went out to all town members, as well as putting it in the paper, having sandwich boards out where town meeting is going to be, if it was going to be a change of venue. And I think, you have 3 weeks to make sure that gets out. So it's not like it's the next day.
But you do have to make a decision when you.
We would have to make a decision, but I'm saying I'm comfortable with putting that decision off until you know what you're doing. But if everybody wants to go with it, I'm just one vote. I'll go with the flow. But I do think to answer your question, these are good things to explore for the future. What if?
Thank you.
And no.
I kind of lean towards what Sheila's saying, and just let's gather the facts. What's it going to cost to do the different alternatives? What are the specifics that JP needs to round up in order to do it locally? I don't think it would be that big a problem to wait until that information comes in. Ryan?
So, I think contingency planning is always important. I always try to have contingency plans for most of the things I do, just so that if something happens, you kind of have a game plan on how to address it. I don't think we'd be doing the public a service by putting off a decision on where we're going to have it. We really do need to get the warrant out and the postcards out to the public so they can start looking at it. I'm kind of torn between the two options. I think I'm not 100% sold, but I think the best we can do is try to have it at the elementary school. If we run into a capacity issue, we might have to reschedule. The moderator might have to reschedule town meeting to a different venue. But even if we did that, that would allow them more time to plan, if necessary, on how to pull this off. If we do have to go to the Eastham gymnasium instead, there is definitely a time crunch happening here, and we're not going to get to a place where we can answer every question with the little bit of time we have left before we really do need to close this warrant.
Dan, you may have mentioned this before, and if you did, I overlooked it. What would be the additional capacity available if we do it at the elementary school?
The additional capacity, there's another 200 people at the 208 that the cafeteria can do. So you're talking now 760 something. Yeah, but there's no way we're gonna, that's I'm quite comfortable we could do, that we're not going to get 760 voters. I'm saying that. I hope I'm not wrong. But yeah, like I say, according to this, this sheet that I got today from Chief Cabello, by Justin Post, the building inspector. Interesting. It is the building commissioner, not the fire department, that determines capacity, which was news to me. But it's the bleachers only in the gym are 321. The bleachers and the floor together are 558. The cafeteria is another 208. I can certainly, if I have another couple of days, I can talk to Jackie and send Jackie Beebe and get a sense of what it costs them. Is it $5,000? Is it $20,000? To rent the chairs. What's involved. And I know they go in a couple of days ahead of time to set the thing up. they, when I was talking to I got some information that the use thing today from the school. There's a form that needs to be filled out and so forth, and they are talking about floor covering, so it isn't just a matter of throwing the chairs on the gym floor.
Right.
Something I don't know what they put down, but they put down some sort of a floor covering as well. So it's not the easiest thing in the world necessarily. But.
Sounds like a lot of work and more money. But I think it sounds to me procedurally like what we need to do tonight is first decide if we're going to make the decision on the location tonight with a vote. And then having made that decision, if the decision is to make the decision tonight, then to take that vote. So, Barbara?
Yeah, again, I think we should decide tonight, but I just, to me, a 2-room setup, if there's overcapacity, is not acceptable. So I can't vote in favor of going forward with it at the school. If that is a possibility. To me, it's either hold it at the school, see what happens, put it off if we have to Eastham, or just go with Eastham. So to me, those are the two choices, and I just want to clarify that, or ask if that's what we agree on.
Sheila?
I'm willing to go with the school. I don't have a problem with it having 2 rooms, Barbara. I've seen that happen before. And if there are moderators and there are, it's not that up close and personal experience that you have when you're in the room, but it is, it's right there. So if somebody feels like they're not being heard, they can walk right across the room and the hall and get in line and get up to the mic. But I do think if you are going to do it in the school, to be prepared that there is an overflow place.
Yes.
Because I think people would be totally, like you didn't think that we might need extra space. So at least we would have that ready to go. So I would tell JP to go and explore what he could do and give it a go. Maybe we won't need it at all.
Yeah,
Especially to incorporate the stage.
I think at this point we know what the options are and what the potential pitfalls of each option are. I think, given what we have ahead of us this evening, I think it's time to make a decision on when we make the decision, and then the decision itself, if that's what's called for. So,
all right, Mr. Chairman, I move to make the decision tonight.
Second.
I second.
To clarify, the decision would be whether to make the decision on the location tonight.
For the venue of town meeting would be the,
Yeah. So if you want to add that to your motion.
Yeah, I move to make a decision tonight, as soon as possible, as to where, not to vote on the location, but to make a decision tonight on whether to vote on a location.
I'll second.
A second, yeah.
A roll call vote?
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
John, aye.
And
Okay,
this,
then
okay, go ahead.
go ahead, Sheila.
No, go ahead.
All right, so Mr. Chairman, I move that we prepare to hold town meeting in Eastham at the school.
So we voted to make the decision tonight. Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah, correct. So I'm just to kind of get things moving, I'm throwing out a proposition that I don't think will get full support, but just to get things rolling, my motion is to hold it at the Eastham school.
We have a second?
Fails for lack of a second, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so maybe another motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we decide this evening that we will hold it at the high school and be prepared for overflow and explore what would be needed in the anticipation of that happening.
Do you mean the elementary school?
Yes, at the elementary school, and to explore the possibility of setting up an overflow room either in the cafeteria, incorporate the stage. Just anticipate an overflow room, but to have it at the elementary school.
No one's seconding that one either.
So,
Uh,
so
Mr. Chair.
if I may,
Okay, somebody's going to say that we're not going to have town meeting. No. Go ahead.
I'm going to go ahead and second it. And then, any discussion, Josh?
yeah, for discussion, the reason why I didn't second the motion is I don't think we should be exploring the possibility of an overflow room. I think we need to direct town staff to prepare the overflow room
Yes.
if we're over capacity in the gymnasium. And so I'm happy to make that motion. Well, I suppose the motion has been seconded, so we have to vote on it. But
We'll
No,
have to, if you want to amend the motion, Sheila, go ahead and amend it. We'll vote.
Okay, so I amend the motion to state that we will hold town meeting at the elementary school and to direct staff to prepare for the possibility of an overflow room and to take steps between now and then to have that room prepared properly to accept that overflow. Does that work, Josh?
yeah, Ryan has to accept your amendment.
I didn't second.
Oh, excuse me. Who seconded?
John did.
I didn't, but I'll second it. I'll second the amendment now.
Oh, for discussion.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I'd be comfortable holding it at the elementary school, but I think if we reach a point where we're at capacity, we should reschedule it to a different location.
Right.
The moderator has that ability by statute as well. And you know, in that case, if I really don't like the division of the body, I you know, I think there's a likelihood that we will be fine, but I think there's enough concern that we might not be for it to, you know, merit this discussion tonight. And if we have that large of a turnout, I really think that we should look at just a larger venue that can contain everybody at that point in time.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, for discussion, I agree with Ryan.
Well, then let's take a roll call vote on.
So one way to do this is to simplify it, is just do separate motions. One to hold at the elementary school and then one about the fallback plan, let's say. If there's agreement to hold at the elementary school, I can vote for that. But I'm not sold on, you know, the fallback plan of basically a division of the body. You know, so if we can just simplify the motion and take the separate votes on the different components, I think that would be more productive.
If I could make a statement to that motion.
Yes.
I think some people will look at that because we all know that this is all about the reason we're anticipating this is because of Maurice's campground. And we anticipate a lot of people there. And I think that if we postpone a meeting because of overcapacity and we didn't anticipate some kind of overflow, that would be looked at not well by the people of the town.
I agree.
That was a deterrent purposely done. So I think that we have to accommodate the voters the best we can and allow them the opportunity, whether it be here or the other school, as long as we are prepared to allow everyone their say. Thank you.
Through the chair, to me, it makes sense that we would want to be prepared, but we could tell people in advance if there is overcapacity, we are going to reschedule this and have it in Eastham. That way they can't say you weren't prepared for this. We will have a plan in place, and that's what we would tell them.
Yeah, I really do not like the idea of postponing town meeting. I also am concerned about the fact that we don't know what the expenses associated with having it in Eastham are going to be. There's a difference between $5,000 and $20,000 in a town that's in the position of counting pennies at this point.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't mind splitting up the motion as per Ryan's suggestion. I'm not sure procedurally how to do that now, since there's already been an amendment offered and voted on.
There's a motion
It
on the
wasn't
floor.
voted on.
It wasn't voted on. He put.
It was just seconded.
It's,
I mean, it can either be retracted or we can take no action on the motion and advance a separate motion.
Well, a motion's been made and seconded, so we need to take action on the motion that's on the floor.
and
Yeah, the person that made the motion does have the ability to retract. Just
Okay, who made the amendment?
Sheila did.
I did. I made a comment to Ryan's. Ryan was proposing a motion that if we become to hold the meeting at the elementary school, if it goes over capacity, we cancel and
No, so
schedule another date.
someone made the
Am I
motion.
right, Ryan?
Sheila
Right.
made the motion to hold the meeting at the elementary school with a contingency plan of having a overflow room prepared.
That was my motion.
And she can either retract it or we can vote on that motion.
Let's vote on the motion.
But I can really get behind supporting it at the elementary school as long as we have I would want it separated. I mean, when there's divisions of the board this way, it usually works best to separate these things. And my preference is to not split town meeting between two different rooms. I get the concerns either way. Yeah.
If
I
if
agree
I
with
could just
Ryan.
if I could just speak to my motion.
Yes.
What I'm saying is there is an effort to increase the amount of chairs available in the room and possibly on the stage. If that does not accommodate people, there is a room prepared for overflow, and the public can be informed that that is going to be available if there is that, so that they're not, I know it's not ideal,
Nothing is
but
ideal.
it's better, to me, it's better than canceling it. And it's better than, and if in the interim of this week, I mean, if we're making the decision tonight, that's my motion. But I'm saying to maximize the capacity we can have and have a preparation in case that doesn't meet the capacity.
Personally, I'm in favor of voting on Sheila's motion as amended. Barbara?
So are you seconding?
You did.
So I move
I
to
guess-
amend the motion to strike the provisions about preparing an overflow room.
Well, this is my motion on the floor and I haven't rescinded it. So I'm happy to have a vote.
I just moved an amendment, Sheila, to the motion.
Okay.
Second,
Roll call vote.
Ryan, I.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, no.
Josh, I.
John, no.
There it is.
All right, passes 3-2. So now we're going to do what? We're
having it at the school.
No, the vote would be on having it at the elementary school, and then what we do for the contingency plan we can have as a separate vote.
All right, then I'll need a motion to.
The motion's already on the floor because the Sheila's is there, and then we struck a portion of it, so we would be calling the roll call vote on the primary motion unless somebody else had an amendment.
Is this the primary? Wait a minute. Is this the
The
primary?
amendment was that Ryan proposed was struck down. So
No. I struck language from your motion as an amendment.
And
I
that's
see.
Passed
and it
3-2.
passed. So
Right,
the
so
so
now
the motion
I
on the
am
floor is to
saying-
hold
Go ahead,
town
Brooke. Go ahead.
meeting.
Now this is getting out of order.
I know. Let Josh speak. Go ahead. I'll let
The
him take
motion
it.
on the floor is to vote whether to hold town meeting at the elementary school,
Mhm.
period. I suggest we hold a roll call vote on that.
Excuse me,
and
that
then we
wasn't my
can-
motion, Josh. It
I
was to,
understand, but member Curley moved to amend your motion, and then
Oh,
then
yes,
there's
and
a
that
vote
passed.
passed. So
Okay.
please, I would recommend that we hold a roll call vote on the motion that was amended twice.
Okay.
So it's been seconded, so roll call vote.
Ryan, I.
Barbara, no.
Sheila, now.
Josh, aye.
To hold it at the elementary school, right? John, aye.
Okay, Mr.
I'm
Chair,
gonna offer a
I
motion.
move to prepare an overflow capacity room located at the cafeteria for our annual town meeting.
Do we want to add language about using the stage?
I
Right,
think the stage is
Uh,
given. It's part of the.
I move to set up the gymnasium at the elementary school for the maximum capacity as allowed by the building inspector, and to also prepare the cafeteria for a reasonable expected overflow capacity as determined by the moderator.
I'll second the motion.
That was
Okay.
my original, okay.
Roll call vote.
Ryan, no.
Barbara, no.
Sheila, I.
Josh, aye.
John, aye. Motion passes 3-2.
All right, so it's gonna be at the elementary
And
school with.
I do think it's important to, at least have contingency plans so that, public, and I appreciate that there is one in this case. It's obviously not the solution I would have chosen, but it's very important to have that in place one way or the other.
Yeah, and it was a good discussion. And Josh, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just, just to recap our conversation, it's highly unlikely we're going to need to be split into 2 rooms.
Mhm.
And so I just want to make sure that we're level setting, that
Mhm.
the highest likelihood is that we're going to have a very crowded gymnasium. If we do have to split into 2 rooms, this is not unprecedented for the Commonwealth to run a town meeting into 2 separate spaces. And I have every confidence that we're going to be able to do so in a fair and equitable way.
So through the chair, if we're making comments on the discussion we just had, I just like to say that based on my experience, granted there may be examples elsewhere, my experience, it is a sort of second-class citizen scenario for people who are not in the main room. Thank you.
Well, as I said earlier, there's going to be people that'll feel that way, and if we had chosen the high school, there would have been people that would have cast shade on that. So, someone's going to criticize the decision no matter what. And I think it's time we move on. Dan?
Yeah, I want to thank the board for taking the time. I know this is lengthy and somewhat complex, and I wish I could have brought this to you sooner, but it was only within the past couple of past week or so that I became aware of how much chatter there is around this meeting, and B, that we even had any options. So I have a cadre of fellow moderators to call upon for advice, and I've already gotten a lot of very good advice about how this is done. It's not uncommon, as Josh says. This is widely used, including here on the Cape, by a number of towns. So we'll do the best we can. And like I say, civic engagement, as Josh was saying, is a good thing. But thank you for taking the time to consider.
Through the chair, Mr. Moderator, could you come in sometime this week so we can start getting logistics down?
I will, at your convenience. Text me when you would like me to come.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you to the board for taking the time to go through this.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Moderator, appreciate your help on this.
I'm not sure if that was a help.
Proactive.
Presenting the facts and the options.
Yeah, and I will, with some leisure, I'll try to get a better sense of what it actually would cost us to go to East End and what's involved in that. But so that would be something we want to consider for the future. Okay, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess we'll move on then to the warrant.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Tom?
Could someone screen share the warrant, please, on the, so we can all look at the same text?
Really?
I am working from my phone because I'm waiting for my son, so I cannot screen share it.
Can Josh screen share, I guess? I would do it, but I'm not sure if I'll be staying at this computer or not. And once I
Yeah.
switch,
That's fine. Give me a second. Just let me bring it up on my screen. Make it nice and big. All right.
Are we still, we're not going to use article numbers or just titles?
it's best not to, but at this point, once we close it, the articles will be finalized, and the numbers will be finalized. The once we get to it, there's a few that I would move one of the articles, but that's for a later discussion.
What was that last, Brian?
I said that changing the order of the articles is something I'll propose for one of them, but that's for a later discussion once we get to it.
Okay. All right. So for now, we won't use article numbers. Just use titles.
Here we go.
There you
Okay.
go.
So Mr. Moderator, or not Mr. Moderator, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
I move to recommend Article 1, the operating budget.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Ryan, aye.
Sorry, through the chair, I'm sorry, I should have raised this a moment ago. I thought we were not, through the chair to the moderator, to the town administrator. I thought we weren't voting on the whole operating budget
Well,
tonight.
when it got to discussion, I was going to bring that up. There was a motion and seconded, then there's discussion. There will be a number change that the finance accountant has found with Fran. I got to wait for her to come back to plug that in. I recommend we vote article. We voted as is, and it may need an amendment later, but I would suggest we vote it tonight. That's not what I told Barbara. I know that,
That's
but
fine.
working through.
Okay, Barbara, aye.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
So we've already voted to insert the operating budget. There's at least 2 articles that we haven't voted to insert, I believe. But the operating budget is not one. And I think, in terms of the signals select board sends, we really do need to show if we're supportive of the operating budget and the services that it supports or not.
I agree.
I'm willing to do a vote here. Once again, I agree, Brian, we did vote to insert Article 1.
So what do we need to just vote to recommend?
I already made that motion and was seconded. There needs to be a roll call voted motion.
Sorry, I voted aye. Ryan voted aye. I voted aye, and then we stopped.
I vote aye.
Josh, aye.
John, aye. Passes 5-0. Is that it's a recommend?
Yes.
Recommend. It was already inserted.
Right. Okay. Just I wanted to be clear. Article 2. Prior year invoices. Didn't we already vote to insert that?
Yes.
Insert, but we also have to make our recommendations on some of these articles. Some of them we voted to insert and recommend, and some of them we voted just to insert.
Most of them you inserted already. I think almost every article you inserted. The ones that you recommended they should already be in there that says yes, 5, no, 0.
This one says nothing.
Right, you hadn't voted it yet. You're voting it now.
Mr. Chair, I move to recommend Article 2 prior year invoices.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Ryan, I.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, I.
Josh, I.
And John, I. Passes 5-0. Where are we? Article 3. Oh, here it is. Capital budget. And I don't see.
No, we didn't recommend this last meeting because we removed the borrowing articles.
Yeah, we split the article.
Mr. Chair, I move to recommend Article 3 capital budget.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Ryan, I.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, I.
Josh, I.
John, I. Passes 5-0. Article 4. Looks like we're just looking for recommendations on this.
No, we would have to insert.
Mr. Chair, I move to insert and recommend Article 4 capital budget borrowing.
Second.
For discussion,
Mm-hmm.
the free cash calculation shouldn't be part of the article like that. Like this is a straight borrowing article. I'm not really sure what the purpose of the free cash calculation is there.
That's just a summary for both articles of the capital that we did. That's been done every year. What was certified, what we're using for capital, what the balance will be, what we're putting into state. That's just a recap of free cash. That's all. We do that every year after the capital article.
As through the chair, I mean, as part of the borrowing article itself.
Well, no, it should. Maybe a black line should be in between, but that's just. It's not part of the article. It's just a visual aid.
It shouldn't be included with the borrowing, capital borrowing.
All right, we can move that. We'll find a better place for it.
And a lot of times we haven't had free cash calculations in our warrants.
Okay, was last year, as I recall, but I may be wrong. Okay, we can move that around.
So the motion was made and seconded to insert and recommend.
Yes. Do you need to amend it?
No.
No.
In that case, roll call vote.
Ryan, I.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, I.
Josh, I.
And John, I. Passes 5-0. Article 5.
Mr. Chair, I move to insert and recommend Article 5 Marina Enterprise Fund operating budget.
We already have.
Oh, we did. You're right. I'm sorry.
Yep, all these articles are inserted. You just have to recommend the ones that you haven't.
Yep. No, you're right. Sorry, I was just trying to keep things moving. I think we're at Article 8.
Good. We've actually done some of this.
Yeah, the enterprise funds have been done. Free cash transfers have been done. Article 8. Okay.
Not 7?
Nope. Seven free cash transfers was recommended.
I must be looking at a different version. Mine are different numbers. So.
Rebecca sent out another version today. I don't know if it was different than the previous one that she distributed.
It was. There were 2 Article 4s in there.
Oh.
So I'm going to abandon mine. Mine has this says Article 7, but I get it. I understand. Thank you.
Oh, and here I am. I started off the meeting by saying we're not going to use article numbers, and what do? I start using article numbers.
Well, they're kind of sad.
Right. So we're up to Wellfleet Permanent Firefighters Association contract.
Mr. Chair, I would want to withhold our recommendations on the collective bargaining until we have at least a memorandum of understanding with the respective units.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to make a recommendation of something that we haven't seen what the finalized impact will be or not.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ryan, through the chair, that this has got to be made at town meeting.
Okay, was this was inserted though already, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So we can move on to Article 9. So the same thing with Article 9.
9 and 10.
So 9 and 10. So we've inserted those and we have to wait on recommendations. So
Okay, both the shellfish and marina were not inserted because we asked for language to be changed. So for both these articles, we would need to insert and recommend.
okay, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Josh.
I move to insert and recommend Article 11 Shellfish Revolving Fund Spending Limit.
Second,
Roll call vote.
Brian, I.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, I.
Josh, aye.
John, aye. Passes 5-0. And then Article Marina Gas Yearly Revolving Fund.
Do we have an approximate number?
Yeah.
A cash amount for the article?
I don't. He was supposed to get, no, I don't have it. I think it's 260, but I don't know that for a fact.
Why not just go like 300?
Yeah. That'll cover you.
You know, because it's being, and who knows what the price of fuel is going to be.
That's right.
So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
You know.
Thank you, Ryan.
Mr. Chair, I move to insert and recommend Article 12 Marina Gas Yearly Revolving Fund as amended on the screen.
Second.
Second.
$100,000.
Is that a second?
Sorry.
Yep.
I'll vote.
Ryan, I.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, I.
Josh, aye.
John, aye. Passes 5-0. Startup costs for wastewater facility.
Can the name of the article say Lawrence Hill?
Sure.
Still wastewater. Yep.
For Lawrence Hill wastewater facility.
Yep.
Yep.
And I don't know, it will likely need to be explained on the floor. But it's standard practice when an enterprise fund is set up to have it with an initial balance, because otherwise, So, and this is basically that facility will be in a sewer enterprise fund.
Right.
But with the sewer commissioners, and I just think it needs to be clearly explained that whenever an enterprise fund is established, it needs a certain amount to start with. So
Mr. Chair, through you, question. So in the summary, it says no greater than $350,000, but that's not in the article itself. Should we say?
It wouldn't be in the article, Mr. Yustin.
Okay.
The rule of thumb, and we kind of go back and forth in Wellfleet, but my training was always you never put a number in the motion because it could change up until the date of publishing or the date of town meeting, and you wait. You don't put a number in the article, but you put a number in the motion.
So the intent is to have a dollar figure in the motions booklet or something of that nature?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I move to insert and recommend Article 13 startup costs for Lawrence Hill wastewater facility as amended on the screen.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Ryan, I.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, I.
Josh, aye.
John, aye. Passes 5-0. The next article, amend Article 4 from 2023 annual town meeting to repurpose funds allocated for harbor master
We already
plan.
voted on that, Mr. Chair.
No, it was voted 5-0.
There we go. Yeah. And the next one was voted 15.
Yeah. One this is just a formatting question. But should harbor master light duty vehicle be in red and in quotes?
It should be struck
Right.
with a line through it. That's how you show what you're amending traditionally.
Okay, so
and it would probably be in bold.
Well, it is there. Harbor master medium drive vehicle.
So we already voted to insert and recommend, so is the motion to insert and recommend the amended Article 15? Would that be the proper procedure? Just for the
It's not changing the substance of it, so I think it's fine,
okay.
personally.
I have a few
Like-
different, I have a few formatting concerns, not concerns, but just suggestions. But if we can just by consent, I think we can move on.
To remove that? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's just changing the color and striking the text and
Oh,
bolding.
okay.
It's just formatting.
So do we need a motion to do that?
No,
Um,
the language is the same, essentially. 16, we don't have a vote recorded. And I think it's also supposed to be 111,000. It's missing a 0.
Yep.
If it was approved this way, then it would be 11,000 and change.
I don't
There was 11G of the article, not $11,000.
Oh, then what about the not to exceed?
It was $11,000. You're correct, Ryan. It was just a misprint.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry.
we voted that.
I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah. Should be.
Wait, through the chair, we did vote on it or we didn't?
It looks like
Recommend it or not?
I don't remember.
You
says the
inserted
vote-
it. You didn't recommend it because we didn't have a price at that point, but we spoke with Suzanne.
Yeah,
so
the
there's now
Navigator's 111.
So I move to
111.
recommend articles, continuation of the Navigator program.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Brian, I.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, aye.
Trash eye.
And aye. So that's been approved and recommended now, right?
So Rebecca, it's supposed to be 11,000, not 110.
Through the chair, I thought
111.
it's
Yeah.
111. He's
Yeah.
right. It was 108 last year and it got moved up to
Yeah,
111.
111.
So that's fixed. Reducing the deficit, a deficit in the short-term debt fund. And that's been, there's no recommendation there.
That is I explained it a little bit last week. This is an instance from 2023 that was put on the recap sheet last year showing the deficit. DOR didn't recommend we do anything with it last year. It was the way it was set up between two different accounts. DOR this year is indicating that we need to satisfy this. And to do that, we need to take
600 and
money out of free cash.
okay. Do we need to state free cash on there?
Not until the motion. The motion will give you where it comes from.
Mr. Chair, through you, can I have a question, please?
Sure.
So Fund 33, is it just called short-term debt Fund 33, or is it more specific than that?
That's as specific as it is. It's
Okay,
Fund 33.
because that's going to be a question on town meeting. They'll
Yeah.
be like, what
well, we'll make sure it's answered, but yes, it's Fund 33.
Okay.
through the chair, I think this might warrant, as it were, a little more discussion. I think when we get to the explanation, Tom, you always do a really good job of explaining everything on town meeting floor. Just general fund departmental turnback is probably something that'll need to be explained.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you do a great job of those, so thank you.
So what are we doing with this tonight?
I would wait until town meeting night when we meet to recommend this article. I have another question for Suzanne and she's not available.
So it's already been inserted.
It's inserted, but recommendation you can make the night of town meeting
Okay.
or next week if she's back.
So we'll wait on that then, and then now we're on to the community preservation articles.
Yeah, those are all been in.
Yep, these are all done.
So this one is the one that I would move. Currently Article 26, Maurice's Campground Master Plan. And then there's a couple of articles in between, and then there's the petitioned articles. I would move this one to the back of the section it's in, and then that would keep the Maurice's related articles together. I don't want to have the same debate over with a break in between, I guess. And I think that could also be an issue for people if there's, yeah. So for section 4, I would actually have the Maurice's one be the last article under section 4.
I can do that. Thanks, Ryan. I just moved it up because I knew you said you wanted the petitioned articles away from each other, but that makes sense.
And just small formatting thing, but it's a different typeface. If
Yeah.
we could have Article 26 be
Oh, you're right.
we use Times New
So-
Roman. It seems to be.
Can
Are
I ask
we
a
gonna discuss that later when we get to it after it's been moved, or are we discussing it now?
Yeah,
The placement or the article itself?
The article itself,
I think we
We inserted this at our last meeting.
inserted this at our last
right,
meeting.
my question was, are we gonna discuss the recommendation?
We discussed that as well at our last
We did.
meeting. We can talk about it again.
Yeah,
Why isn't there?
the consent at the time.
I
Sorry,
don't think we,
it was discussed that we would withhold recommendation,
yeah,
so that we could get a sense of the town. But I would just so I would move to place the Maurice's Campground Master Plan at the end of at the end of section 4.
Second.
okay. You seconded it? Okay, we'll call vote.
Sheila has her hand up.
Oh, Sheila? I'm sorry.
I'm just wondering, does it make sense to have this after people have had to vote on different articles pertaining to the master plan? I mean, to
Just
there's other articles about that. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
this would still come before citizen petitions.
But they would be together. That's the intent of moving it, is to keep the related articles basically one after each other.
Yeah, because right after this would be section 5, which has all those other.
Right.
right. So through the chair, so we have a motion now to move it and that to that location, which you've seconded, but again, I don't think we voted on a recommendation for this, and my question is, are we going to talk about that tonight, or are we putting that off as well?
I think if I could, I think we said that this is something that should be in there for the people to say something about.
So
No, I understand that. My question is whether the board is going to vote tonight on a recommendation.
Well, let's vote on moving it first, and then
Okay.
take that up, because it's already been seconded. So roll call vote on that.
Ryan, I.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, I.
Josh, I.
John, aye. So that passes 5-0 to move Article 26 to the end of section 4. Now to Barbara's question.
Mr. Chair, through you.
No.
The discussion at our last meeting was, and we never voted on this, but what I offered and what I believe was the consensus of the board was that we were not going to make a recommendation on this article, as this is specifically seeking specifically seeking town meetings sense on whether they support the master plan or not, and we should act as an impartial body for this.
That's right.
Question.
Correct. Thank you, Josh, for reminding me. I had forgotten that. Thank you.
Oh, good. All right.
Okay, so that brings us to, oh no, we have the rest of section 4 to do.
Yep.
The head of is article to home rule petition to add those employed or supporting shellfishing, aquaculture, etc.
Mr. Chair,
So sorry.
no, go for it, Ryan.
All right. So when we were reviewing the warrant last time, I had discussed a desire to expand the home rule petition and include both healthcare professionals and those employed in other marine fisheries. And so this is the language I'm proposing. I would also want to note that Anne reached out after our meeting, and then Provincetown was going to have a similar home rule petition on their warrant, and she thought or was under the impression that they were advised by Senator Sear to defer placing it on the warrant. And she was going to reach out to Provincetown to see, you know, what the rationale was. But I don't, hasn't gotten back.
So through the chair, I mean, if we support this, can't we just include it anyway and just see what happens, just to make a kind of statement of what we believe this should be the case?
I would be comfortable with supporting a home rule petition. So that's just me. But I would also want to know if my colleagues are amenable to the altered language to expand it.
Yeah, through the chair, I am in favor of the additional language.
And then mine. So we just need a vote to recommend.
So we need to insert and recommend, if I recall.
Oh, we haven't inserted this yet. Okay.
Right. Mr. Chair, I move to insert and recommend Article 27 home rule petition to add those employed.
It's no longer 27.
Yeah. We remember we're not going to use numbers yet.
We've been using them all night. All right. Anyways,
Right,
Mr. Chair, I move to insert and recommend a home rule petition to add those employed or supporting the shellfishing, aquaculture, marine fisheries, or healthcare sectors to the Seasonal Communities Act.
Second.
Roll call vote.
It should be, actually, it shouldn't say to the Seasonal Communities Act. The name of the act is a little different. As a preferred vocation under the Seasonal Communities Act and Wellfleet, which is specific to Wellfleet. The article as it reads here would be basically, or at least the article title would be to amend the Seasonal Communities Act its entirety and not as a home rule petition. So just if the wording, sorry, you didn't catch this when I reviewed it.
I withdraw my motion.
If the wording could just be in healthcare, if you scroll down, the name of the act is there and it should just be the same. Sorry, I didn't catch that. So just the title reads as if we're amending the Seasonal Communities Act, which we can't do.
So we just need to add the words in Wellfleet to the end of.
As preferred vocation, yeah, similar, something like that. But it shouldn't be saying like to the Seasonal Communities Act. I would say under probably.
Or as offered, or
How does that work? What's on screen?
It should be delete the A and add an S after preferred. Right? Or not as after preferred. It should be as preferred vocations.
Got it.
Okay.
Josh, if you don't mind, would you just send me all your edits tonight?
You got it.
Thank you so much.
So was there a motion to insert and recommend?
I withdrew it. So I'll make it again. I move to insert and recommend home rule petition to add those employed or supporting the shellfishing, aquaculture, marine fisheries, or healthcare sectors as preferred vocations under the Seasonal Communities Act in Wellfleet.
Second.
We'll call a vote.
Brian, I.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, I.
Josh, aye.
John, aye. Now we're up to amendment to Affordable Housing Trust Bylaw, expansion of area median income eligibility threshold.
Through you, Mr. Chair. To Mr. Yeston, when we reviewed this, you said that you were going to check on language that was added. And that's why we didn't make our recommendations. Are you satisfied at this point?
I am, and we had a meeting with the trust the next day, and all those present unanimously voted to support, and we're having another meeting tomorrow for the few individuals that could not make that meeting to take another vote to have the full trust vote on their recommendation.
Okay. Did we insert it? Does anybody remember?
We did, but I thought we inserted and recommended this one as amended. I made the motion.
I thought so
Okay.
too.
Well, just to cover our bases, I move to insert and recommend amendment to the Affordable Housing Trust Bylaw, expansion of median income eligibility threshold.
Second.
We'll call a vote.
Ryan, I.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, I.
Josh, aye.
John, aye. Passes 5-0. Short-term rental bylaw. I do not see.
We did not insert this because we were waiting for amended language. Before we discuss the substance, I would just have the same formatting notes that this we remove the underlines and strike throughs because this is a net new bylaw, and so we don't need to show a red line version of a draft.
I just left it in there for you guys to see that your changes were made. Once you agreed to recommend, I would take them out.
Perfect.
Okay. We'll need a motion to recommend.
I will make a motion to recommend.
Silence is deafening.
Sorry, I thought you were going to say the title. I was waiting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I I apologize. I move that we recommend short-term rental bylaw.
Insert and recommend?
Insert and recommend.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Just for discussion, quickly.
Yeah.
The one quibble I have is still the requirement for a 24-hour contact person. I think that's unreasonable. I'm willing to support this as drafted for it, but I will be making an amendment on the floor of town meeting.
If I may, Mr.
Yeah.
Chair. So if the 24-hour person is the owner of the property, which is usually who they would call to say something's wrong here, doesn't that count as a 24-hour contact?
Well,
I think that was the point that people who owned rental properties were making. I mean, usually people call us. We handle those things. directly. We'll call our guy, we'll call our repairman, whatever.
With both me and my family having at one time been in that position, it seems to me that, modern appurtenances being what they are, so if somebody has a renter has a problem at a property and they call the designated person, whether it's the owner or a caretaker or a real estate company, they can't expect somebody to necessarily physically answer a phone in 24 hours a day, but there should be a means of leaving a message, and usually there is.
Yeah, Josh, if you're looking for where it is, it's 5.4.
No, I was looking for this formatting foible.
All right, so it
I
says,
can go to 4.4. Sorry, I was trying to format as we were discussing.
yeah,
Do that later.
it's 5.4.
Yeah.
All short-term rental operational designated contact person who should be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
The owner or owner's agent.
They're not going to be available 24 hours. It's unrealistic.
So through the chair, I mean, Brian, do you want to tell us the amended language, and we could potentially vote on that now if we agree, or do you want to leave it to town meeting?
If the board would entertain it, but if not, that'd be fine. I would just strike it should read a designated contact person, and then strike who shall be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and substitute shall be available at reasonable
Response time. Response time.
Something along those lines. With it.
So through the chair, I'm happy to entertain Ryan's language now and do this now if the rest of the board is as well.
Just for discussion, last week Falmouth passed a regulation that required at the 24-hour requirement. Not that that changes it one way or another, what we want to do, but
if I can for discussion, this means that they're able to speak to someone within 24 hours. Doesn't mean the thing is going to be rectified within 24 hours. And usually within 24 hours, somebody, whether it be the agent, that's their bread and butter, and also the bread and butter of the renter. So
as written, it's not that they have 24 hours to respond. It's they have to be available 24 hours a week.
So through the chair, I prefer the version we drafted. However, I'm certainly willing to vote to amend it as Ryan has suggested. Let's give it a year. Let's see what happens. And if we find there are problems with response time, we could amend it back to the 24-hour a day language.
Hey, can I make a suggestion here? All short-term rental operational designated contact person who shall be available to respond within 24 hours. That leaves it open to being able to leave a message.
That's fine with me. That's a simple solution.
Because I really think that's kind of the intent.
right.
Nobody expects somebody to
They'll
be
be available to contact, to
to be available.
Okay, yeah, to respond. Okay.
That's reasonable. Expecting somebody to be physically available 24 hours a day is not.
Yeah, I would turn off my phone at night because you need to get sleep. Otherwise, you're useless to everybody.
I was running my mechanical business. I turned the phone off when I went to bed.
Yeah, I had, one phone for business would go off, one phone personal.
hold on. I withdraw my second. Sheila, do you withdraw your motion?
Yes.
Okay. Are we comfortable with the amended language of adding to respond and striking per day, 7 days a week?
Yes.
Yes.
Can we say within 24 hours?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay, where were we?
So the motion was moved and then withdrawn, so I moved to insert and recommend the short-term rental bylaw as amended.
Second,
Roll call vote.
Ryan, I.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, I.
John, aye. Passes 5-0.
One formatting question that we need to rectify is for compliance. What is this supposed to be?
I think it's supposed to be 4.4.2. Just looking at the numbering.
Okay.
Because
Thank you.
yeah.
Yep.
But
I can
probably
fix that
0.3.
tomorrow.
4.4.3. Because inspection is 4.4.2.
Great.
And then I don't know. These do need to get renumbered because then you have 4.3 renewals.
Right. The formatting is just off. That's what I was trying to. It's just
This was
4.2.
just a copy and paste, but I can type it in so it's all matched.
You know what? I think it's supposed to be 4.2.
Yep, it is.
Sorry, this is what happens when you draft bylaws. It's like get the numbers correct so that
Rebecca, would you mind just helping me out and just indenting this thing properly? Because for whatever reason, oh, I got it.
Yeah, like I said, it's because it's copied and pasted. I'll do it better tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll just type it in manually.
Okay, cool.
Moving on to the two Maurice's petitioned articles, I think we agreed we're not going to recommend one way or the other on those.
We haven't actually had that conversation. Some of them, particularly the ownership and housing rental balance, Barbara said that she would like to discuss, or merited a discussion. And we didn't have the time for that the other night.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I have forgotten. What did I say I wanted further discussion of?
The petition article, Maurice's campground ownership and rental balance.
Okay. I'm just gonna look at I'm finding it in the packet.
It'll show it as Article 30, at least on the
I thought we said we didn't. Do we have to recommend? I thought we didn't have to.
We actually haven't discussed these articles at all.
It was only Article 20, the one at the end of Section 4 that we agreed not to recommend one way or the other.
So, there's a lot going on in planning on Maurice's. Well, first of all, I don't know if we've heard from council whether this is, in proper form and whether it's something that town meeting has the authority to do. There's a lot going on. I sort of agree in principle that we should make sure that there's a substantial ownership component on Maurice's, but we have a Maurice's planning committee and that's sort of their job. So I'm not sure I want to vote either on a recommendation or for a recommendation.
I tend to agree.
Um,
I think we should just insert it and let the people do what they want. Let them have that conversation.
Josh has his hand up, Mr. Chair, and then I.
Sorry.
My paperwork. Josh?
I suppose my concern with this is no matter how Maurice's gets developed, it will almost certainly be developed in phases. So I just don't know how to accommodate this restriction in a phased approach. Does the split apply to each individual phase of development? Does it apply to the sum? How do we define what the end when the Maurice's is fully developed? I understand the intent. I'm trying to understand how to apply this in um
That
in
might be a
fashion.
discussion with the
So
floor of town meeting. What do you think?
that's just my question on how the 50% would be applied and at what stage is just my general question.
That would be something to be asked on the floor, I would
Right.
think.
It would actually be a question for council. A petition, a petitioner can say what they think it means, but the council will have to rule on the specific language and what it applies to. But if I may, I have a separate comment on this, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
The issue with ownership and ownership is obviously very important, and it's something that we included a lot in the master plan when we did it. The issue is that there's no funding for ownership. For affordable, all the subsidies are basically centered around rentals. I wish it wasn't that way, but it is. And then um, yes, Habitat for Humanity, it has a model that they're able to make work. Over 2 decades, they've built 230 Habitat homes on the entire Cape. So there's a limited pipeline even for that model. They and I I mean the ownership is also not suited for everybody. It could be somebody that's taking, let's say, a job for the town of Wellfleet that unless they're already familiar with the area, they're not going to be looking to purchase a house immediately. They'll want to get their feet wet, make sure that the town suit it matches what they want. And also, those of lower income will not have the ability to maintain a house on their own. The rental subsidy allows for that. Basically, the landlord is responsible for maintaining the unit or house or whatever. But if they're at 30% of AMI or otherwise, that they're not going to have the funds to do basic maintenance on a house that they own. And so, I think 50% is really aggressive and doesn't really make sense. We included around 30% as ownership. As I said, I wish things were different. But that's, ultimately you can only build housing that you can get funding for. And also you have to, take into account the different circumstances of people. So
I mean, in principle, I support the meat of this, but I have a problem with the arbitrary assignment of a percentage. I just don't see how it's possible to rationally do that. So I would have trouble voting to recommend.
Through the chair.
Yeah.
I have my hand raised.
Yep, go ahead.
It does say, provided, however, that affordability or income restriction requirements may be applied to the units in either ownership or rental housing, or take any action relative thereto. So it's basically saying, if this can be applied, this is how we would like it to be applied. This is a citizen's petition. I agree. I don't like putting a percentage on it because we don't know what the ability would be. But it is what it is. And I would recommend to insert it, but I would refrain from endorsing it because this really is a citizen's petition for the citizens.
So we can't vote to insert. It has to be inserted. As a
It's
citizen.
inserted, so
I'm ready to make a motion in the affirmative so we can have a vote on this.
okay.
Is
Go
that
for
okay
it.
with the rest of the board?
Yes, for me.
Barb,
I'm
hand up,
taking
though.
my hand down.
Barbara's got her hand up. Did anyway. Barbara?
Yeah, it will be solved by a motion, I think, so.
All right. I'll take a motion.
Okay. I move to recommend petitioned article Maurice's campground ownership and housing rental balance.
Ryan, no.
Barbara, no.
Sheila, I.
Josh, no.
Doesn't matter.
John, I'm going to vote aye, but I'm really kind of of two minds about it. But the voters will.
So through the chair though, I was
It's
maybe not clear in my thinking. So are we, I mean, was it a possibility that we just take no position on it rather than to recommend against
we
it?
could
I
have.
mean, what,
Good have
sorry?
you.
That's what I would do.
So then the vote we just took, what does the vote we just took mean though?
We would be making a recommendation on the article.
Against it?
Yeah.
I moved in the affirmative to recommend it.
Okay, yeah, I should have thought more clearly earlier. I mean, my preference would be that we just take no position on it rather than recommending it against it, but I can live with the outcome. It's fine.
Would you like to would you like to make a
Um,
motion to
Not
rescind the
unless,
recommendation of the board?
yeah, not unless anyone else feels strongly about it. It's fine.
Yeah. Just 50%, unless the funding sources change, is not feasible.
No, I understand through the chair. I understand. It's just a question of whether we want to actively recommend against it, which we've just done and I can live with, or not have any recommendation at all, but it's fine. I get it.
My issue is not with the 50% or with any number. It's I don't know how we apply this to a development strategy.
Yeah, and different developer, yeah.
Yeah, just through the chair. I mean, I think if we are asked to explain a town meeting why we are recommending against it, I just think we should be prepared to explain our vote. That's all.
Well, I'll entertain a motion to rescind if you want.
I don't have a sense of what other people think, so I would be interested in that before we go through it, just informally.
Informally, I agree with you. I think this is a petition article. We can hash out the percentage on the floor and make, whatever arguments we feel about it to the people and bring up those points. I mean, we could say no because of that it had this percentage put in there that we don't know if it's realistic. But does that mean we are against the whole sense of the petition? I don't know. So,
But this isn't an advice. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
advisory.
This is not an advisory article. But I mean, I have a tremendous number of questions. I understand, I think, the intent. And I think it's a good intention.
right.
I'm very concerned around if this is binding, how we actually apply this and what restrictions that may create in the future. And so it's not that I disagree with creating ownership opportunities. This language makes me uncomfortable.
If I could just, before you say, okay, Barbara, we can just have a discussion here, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I just wanted to point out, provided, however, that affordability or income restriction requirements may be applied to the units in either. So they're sort of leaving it open that they know that there's rules around this. This is what they would like to see. But, if it doesn't work that way, it doesn't work that way. That's the way I read this petition.
No.
So
But
through the chair,
if you'd rather say no
Mhm.
because of the percentage, it's up to you guys.
Right. So through the chair, with Josh, I think Josh put it really well, and I would feel comfortable stating that position, or if any of my colleagues wanted to state that position at town meeting. So I'm sort of withdrawing my question about having a do-over, and the vote was the vote. So thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Then, moving on to the Maurice's Campground final approval by town meeting. Okay.
This is more of a question. So already, by both statute and our charter, town meeting has to approve any disposition of town property. So I'm a little confused on this because basically a town meeting will have to approve disposition on town property one way or the other. Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion then? That we not take a recommendation vote. Just make that point at town meeting, and it might end up being a motion to indefinitely postpone or something.
I mean, I would also want the opinion of town council.
Yeah, through the chair. Then actually, if I need to do this, I would like town council's opinion. I think the development agreement part is a little different than the leasing part. So I'm not sure that's something we want to agree to, but I mean, if we're not going to take a position on this one, then I'm not sure we should be taking a position on the other, but I don't know.
All right. I mean, it's also, look, I love the fact that anyone can create a citizen's petition, and I encourage anyone to do so. But I have found that when it's not done in a proper format, it can get really problematic really quickly. So, this, to me, this whole section feels like it should be in a summary and not in the article, which confuses. And so there's just, and like, I don't mean to be pedantic, but it matters. And so I just, these are just issues, concerns that I have. I think Member Carboni makes a very good point that a development agreement is much different than disposition of property. And what does that look like if this passes?
Those are, through the chair. I mean, those are negotiated either just with the developer or with the developer and the Cape Cod Commission if they're part of that agreement. Yeah. And Josh, it's my job to be pedantic, by the way. So
excuse me. I relinquished this.
Yeah. I guess I can't sign on to something that says preventing boards from entering binding agreements without direct voter consent. I just don't think you can govern a town that way to vote on every, agreement that has to do with town property. So, well, I'll leave it there for now.
I would like town council's opinion.
Yeah, I will ask for that.
Yeah, that's
okay. So through the chair, then can you ask about town council's opinion on the prior article as well?
Yes.
Whether that's something that that town meeting can vote on?
Yes.
I mean, they can vote on it, but whether it's sort of
Yeah, we can revisit that vote if town council advises us to.
So
yeah,
if that's the case, then I move to reconsider. How do we?
Yeah.
I move to rescind the select board's recommendation on the article entitled "Petition to Article Maurice's Campground Ownership and Housing Rental Balance" and reserve opinion until after we receive town council's opinion.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Brian, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
John, aye. Passes 5-0.
All right, we're down to 32.
Yeah. This, I think we can discuss and vote on.
Say that again, Mr. Chairman.
Vote on this one.
Did we?
This is to authorize electronic voting at open town meeting. It's automatically inserted because it's petitioned.
Yeah.
Right, but the vote on recommendation through the chair. I thought we were the moderator was gonna. I know the moderator has opinions on this, and I thought we were gonna discuss it.
Yeah, moderator's not a fan of this.
Yeah, I'm happy. I do not support this. I am happy to make a motion to not recommend.
I just, if I could just make a comment, I know that they incorporate this in Eastham. And I remember the moderator that introduced it, and it went quite well. And it made the town meeting go very quickly because votes were tabulated quickly. And if it's a big issue, say it's something that, people sort of really support, but
It's
they don't want to
expensive.
really say because they don't want blowback. It's a silent vote. It's a vote like you would cast your vote in a ballot, and nobody knows how you voted. And you might get more of an honest reflection of people's vote if you have electronic voting. I'm just saying, I don't, for Wellfleet, we've had this forever. I'm surprised we even went to electronic counting because we used to hand count everything. So it's sort of like how it's moving, but I'm just telling you an experience that was shared with me, and they thought it worked pretty well.
Mr. Chair, if I may?
Well, Ryan has his hand up.
Excuse me. I'm sorry, I can't see anybody. I'm looking at a Word doc.
So, when I first joined the board, I actually talked to the moderator about having electronic voting. To me, it was about efficiency, for the sake of efficiency. Um, um, they, him and administration at the time talked me out of it because of the costs involved of doing it. But I've found his most recent arguments about it to be compelling from a philosophical standpoint. Um, Town meeting is a legislative body. Um, you know, the you know, yeah, because before I was, just looking at it as a sake of, especially if there's, somebody calls a question, it has to get counted, twice to make sure it's right. It's not, very efficient in terms of running a town meeting, but then, the cost involved to reduce time slightly is significant. But yeah, I found his most recent arguments be compelling from a philosophical standpoint and not necessarily just from a financial standpoint.
Josh?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree entirely, but I did a lot more research into this than I thought I ever would. Electronic voting does not require a secret vote. Many communities in the Commonwealth actually have large projectors where every single attendee's name is up in a grid. It looks like a gigantic Excel document, essentially. And their vote is recorded by color code, green for yay, red for nay, and then yellow, I suppose, if they abstain. And so we can introduce voting efficiency while still having an open legislative process. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, Barbara, go ahead before I
Yeah,
open.
thanks. Thank you. So through the chair, I was just hurriedly trying to find the moderator's comments in what I thought was the last issue of the Independent, but it was before that. And it was, as Ryan was suggesting, it's a legislative body. This is not the same as casting a ballot, which is meant to be secret. It's a different function whatsoever, and it's not, the form of government that we have. So I find the moderator's arguments persuasive as well. And I think it's interesting that there is the capacity to show every member's vote up on a screen, but I just don't think most people could look at the screen and sort of immediately recognize who's voting for what. I just don't think that's a substitute for the way town meeting is conducted and has historically been conducted. I understand there's a little bit of a sacrifice in terms of time, but I personally think, given what's at stake, I think it's, to me, it's an acceptable use of time. Thank you.
I fully agree with the moderator that there's a certain amount of accountability that goes along with being a member of a legislative body. Our votes as select board members are obviously public record, and as the voters themselves are legislators at town meeting, I think that should be an open process. So that's where I'm at on it.
So then, Mr. Chairman, would you be ready for a motion on this?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
He said yes.
You said yes. Oh, sorry. For some reason, I can't hear John tonight. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
but-
Mr. Chairman,
John, speak up.
Sorry, John, occasionally your audio is cutting out, just so you're aware. So,
A little closer to the computer. Is that better?
Yeah.
yes, thank you. So I think you said you were ready for a motion. So
Yeah.
I guess remind me, either admin or Ryan or someone, should I make this motion? How do we make this motion?
you can word it
Re-
whichever way you like. I mean, we've in the past take motions not to recommend or recommend
no,
against.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend against the article entitled, can you scroll up a little bit or
Excuse me.
so I can see the name of the article? So I move to recommend against the article entitled to authorize electronic voting at open town meeting.
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Ryan, I.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, no.
Josh, no.
John, I.
Okay.
Passes 3-2. 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
And
No, the motion was in the negative, so it's yes. The vote was, to recommend, three voted no against recommend.
Right, that's what it says.
Yeah.
oh, that's correct. Okay, then I guess we're on to the standard annual articles.
I recommend against the standard annual articles.
Wise guy.
I motion for a recall.
Mhm. Yeah, there you go.
You don't ever want to do that.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
That's real divisive.
Well, those are brutal.
That was a joke.
Yeah, I got it, Josh. I don't know about the others.
So, did we insert these, Rebecca?
Yeah, I think we insert.
All right, so if they're already inserted,
Yes,
I move
you
to
did.
recommend the standard annual closing articles.
Second.
Just
Roll call vote.
Ryan, I.
Barbara,
Hello.
Barbara, you muted.
muted.
Sorry, I was muted. I, Barbara, I.
All right, Sheila, I.
Josh,
John,
I.
Josh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Josh, I.
John, I.
Okay.
And with that, I move to close the spring Wellfleet's annual Springtown meeting warrant of 2026.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Ryan, I.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, I.
Josh, I.
John, I. Passes 5-0.
The spring and the fall thing is tripping me up because I want to just say like annual town meeting warrant and be like, actually, there's another annual town meeting warrant in the fall, and we have to do we have? I think we have to take action on the ballot.
There's several
Okay.
questions.
So then through the chair, is it appropriate to just, what are we doing? Are we inserting? Is that what you do with an election warrant? Or what's the right action? Anyone?
You would,
About the ballot. What? I don't understand this question.
There's an election warrant that includes 7 ballot questions. So I think Ryan's saying he thinks we need to do something, take action on
Yes.
that, and I agree.
I think we
But what
have
I
to,
heard-
There's also
I'm sorry.
council comments. Would you like me to quickly run through them?
What?
Sorry?
comments
Oh,
on what?
Wait.
on question 2.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
Josh, through the chair, Josh, can you screen share again? Because I don't have comments on the version that I
I
printed
don't know
out.
what we're talking about.
The election warrant to the ballot that follows, that's on May 19th.
Yeah, working on it.
Thank you.
Oh, I see.
So I think this comment's self-explanatory because we only have one water department tank.
Yeah, that needs to be. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Is it a water department tank or should it just be the water tower? I mean,
The would be a better word.
okay. And then there was a comment,
Question 5.
question 5.
Are we dredging at the marina or the harbor generally? And I would recommend we change the language to the harbor generally, because it's not just the marina.
Okay. I was thinking, John, that was on me. I was thinking the maintenance dredging for the inner part was.
Yeah, yeah, by the
But
marina.
you're right. You're right, because it's going to end up morphing over to the other areas too.
Well, there's
So
the other maintenance dredge by the jetty.
Yeah, that's right too. Yeah, which needs
So
to get done.
Technically not the
Chair?
marina. Barbara?
Is there any chance that people are not going to understand that this doesn't refer to the dredging that we had so much discussion of a couple of years ago?
Oh, the mooring field? No, that's not maintenance dredging.
That's, yeah.
I know that. I know that because because I was involved with the discussions, but I'm just saying, is there any chance that not everybody follows this that closely? And does anyone else think there might be a chance that people confuse or wonder whether maintenance dredging means the mooring field?
I think the problem there is raising funds to do maintenance dredging in general. As time goes on, that's going to incorporate other areas, and to limit to try to get too specific.
Okay.
The mooring field is going to require a mitigation plan of some kind.
No, through the chair, I guess that's my point. I'm just wondering maybe I'm alone in this, but I wonder if people who don't remember that maintenance dredging is distinct from mooring field. Do you think people might wonder whether maintenance dredging refers to the mooring field and that the controversy that surrounded it?
Considering this is a ballot question, that they might not necessarily have information provided by town meeting, let's say.
Yeah.
I guess that's my point. I mean,
So
oh, I forgot.
if I can, so John, what is the maintenance? We're maintaining the dredging of the work that was performed.
Yes,
So to maintain the a dredge maintenance of what was the area?
well, there is an article in the warrant pertaining to the maintenance dredging.
Yeah, we're looking right.
That's right what we're talking about.
Okay.
Hold on. That's why there's a ballot question. So that discussion is going to take place, and I think that'll clear up any confusion in people's mind.
Okay.
But
We need language other than say the harbor instead of just the marina.
we can't assume that all the voters will have attended town meeting. Typically, the number of votes cast significantly higher than attendance at town meeting. So it's always, I know that you can't provide a summary for a ballot question, but it's good to try to provide clarity and avoid confusion where people may or may not get confused, because otherwise you can have a ballot question fail that way.
Well,
Yeah,
I would suggest amend it.
Yeah, yeah,
Here.
through the chair. My concern is that people, a lot of the discussion around dredging the harbor, that's what people may remember and may think, well, we don't support that. So
Well,
some language to clarify that it's not the mooring field.
Let me propose some language then. Shall the town of Wellfleet be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2 1/2, so-called, the amounts required to pay for the bond issued in order to perform maintenance dredging in Wellfleet Harbor, not to include the mooring field.
Can we say as needed, as necessary?
I don't think that would clarify it adequately.
Okay.
I think if we specifically state that this does not include the mooring field, which is a whole separate issue, I think that might. Yeah, actually, I think technically it's the South mooring field.
I think Tom has his hand up.
No, I'm all set. I'm sorry.
Barbara
Does it make sense to you?
John, is this language?
Huh?
Yep.
Does it make sense?
Yes, assuming people know where the different mooring fields are. That's all.
Yeah, I think almost being specific is confusing because not everybody has a boat. They don't all know, but that you're going to have to do some maintenance. So
yeah.
I think it's okay to say maintenance dredging at Town Harbor.
I would say Wellfleet Harbor. That's
Wellfleet Town Harbor.
We usually just refer to it as Wellfleet Harbor.
Okay.
Here's a question. Someone who paid attention in English more than I, more than me. God, that was terrible. Are we in Wellfleet Harbor or at Wellfleet Harbor? It says at, and then I changed it to in.
I would leave out the D.
I would just put dredging the Wellfleet Harbor, excluding the South mooring field.
Dredging
the harbor. Yeah, we all know what that is.
Dredging of Wellfleet Harbor.
Right. You're right.
South mooring field. That's a whole different thing. That's going to require a mitigation plan and then raising.
That's federal government stuff. This is local.
That's not, and it's not considered maintenance dredging by the Corps. So, which is the root of the whole problem.
Yeah.
That's going to be handled separately. So I think that's about the best we can do by explanation. Barbara, does this work for you?
Yes, exactly. I just was concerned that you might be inhibiting.
You're correct, and Ryan's correct too. That that a lot of people vote who don't attend the meeting.
Right. So okay, yes, thank you, John. That does address my concern.
So it looks like council made comments on the ballot that also might affect Article 3. We might have to go back. Or maybe not, but
needs a description of the work here at Article 3, needs a better description under Article 2.
So it's here. So they're both for so questions 6 and 7. The suggestion from councils have a better description.
Yeah, Keller's Corner, is that the storm sewer?
No, it's right at the end of well, it's the curve at Kendrick where it moves away from the um where there's the cottages. It's to the north. And Keller's Corner is basically that area where the road comes closest to the water there. There's also like a little pull-off area.
Yep.
What are we doing at Keller's Corner?
Right. I have no idea.
It's a very slow-moving project. But basically they've been dealing with a lot of erosion. It would probably be worthwhile to have somebody come in and explain it because it really hasn't been at a select board meeting for a number of years.
Yeah,
But for
Jay
the-
will be at the town meeting.
But hold on. For the sake of the ballot question,
Mm-hmm.
what are we saying we're doing?
Right. And what are we doing? And where is Kelly's Corner? I mean, a lot of people
described
say
where it
Kelly's
was.
Corner.
With the reference to Article 3 in the warrant,
Yeah.
Correct.
isn't Article 3 the capital budget? So it's somewhere
Yes.
within the capital budget.
Now Article 4,
I thought we
All right,
were.
Article 4.
because it's the bond,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
what
yeah,
we
yeah,
remove
sorry.
from capital that we need to borrow from.
Got it.
So I'm not sure exactly what the plan is at this point, but it's been to kind of stabilize the corner. Different solutions have been proposed. I'm not sure if they've landed on one or not. There was a grant associated with it.
Yeah, it's an
at one point.
NRCS program, I think.
And basically the issue is that it's eroding. It's fairly close to the road. And the drift of the sand, brings it towards towards the marina, but takes it right there because the cottages built this massive seawall, and so they get the end scouring from the seawall affecting this corner, which is where the public road is. And to date, they've largely been doing a like a fire brigade thing where they take sand from around the marina and dump it over there. It varies, but they've been trying to look for a more long-term solution for a while.
Right.
Ryan, do you want to suggest a phrase?
I would say coastal engineering. How about that? That's a fairly broad. Coastal engineering
And repairs, yep.
repairs or road work, something like that.
And repairs, that takes in road work.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan. And same with respect to question 7, replace culvert at Briar Lane.
That's a culvert replacement.
Do we
Yeah,
want to say in order to satisfy a grant match for question 6?
Sure.
Okay.
That will help.
Briar's Lane, another slow-moving project.
Forever.
A few years ago, the culvert. Well, there was an oil release from one of the surrounding businesses, and at that time, it was discovered that the culvert had basically completely collapsed, going under Briar Lane.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure how much more specific you can
Right.
get.
I know about that, yeah.
You could add, that's also a grant match. So do you just want to add the same language there? I mean, I'm just reading that in Article 3 or 4, whatever it is. It says Briar Lane grant match. So
So how do we feel about, shall the town of Wellfleet be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2 1/2, so-called, the amounts required to pay for the bond issue to satisfy a grant match to replace a culvert at Briar Lane.
So
That
can I ask a
works.
question? What is it that we're asking them to do? We're going to be exempt to allow to be exempt.
We're
from-
exempting the debt.
I'm
from
sorry,
2.5.
you're borrowing. Okay, all right, then that's good. Thank you.
Both questions 6 and 7 are outlined in, well, 5, 6, and 7 are all outlined in Article 4 of what we
Yep.
insert.
Okay.
And so is question 4
So
and 3.
going back to what we're, now that we have the text and then I think we're all comfortable with, what is the right language for the motion? What are we doing with the election warrant? What's the right verb?
We move to approve the ballot questions as written or as amended.
Yeah.
Is that the right motion?
Yeah, as submitted.
Oh, as amended.
Yeah, you're right. You amended them. You're right.
Okay, so I
Approve
move that
the-
we approve the ballot questions as amended.
Second.
Approve the election warrant, wouldn't that be it?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, can we friendly amendment that to say approve
Okay.
the annual town election warrant as amended?
I'll go with that.
And to
I wish
hold it,
rescind mine, we'll go with Barbara's language.
do we vote on the date of town election? Is that set? Because otherwise you have to, the select board has to vote on the date as well.
The date's
Because
the
the select
19th,
board is the
isn't
one
it?
that holds the election.
I think it's already on there. That's the 19th.
It's on there. I'm just wondering if earlier, if we had voted on the date of the election or not. If we haven't, we should vote on the date of
No,
the
let's-
election.
You
Let's do it.
probably should, just to protect yourselves, to be sure you're covered.
So we move that we're going to have the election warrant be held on Tuesday, May 19th, 2026?
Correct.
No.
No? Okay, then you do it.
Well, the warrant can't be held. The election's held. So
The election.
Right.
Oh, pardon me. Okay, you do it then.
Well, I withdraw my second.
So
Chair,
how
I
about this?
your motion.
That we approve the election warrant, the annual election warrant to be held on Tuesday, May 19th, 2026.
Second.
To approve the annual election warrant for the Wellfleet's annual election to be held on May 19th, 2026. You can't hold the warrant.
Good.
Well, that's why they were the ballot questions. We're approving the ballot questions that are going to be on the warrant of May 19th, 2026. That's it. Is that right? We're approving the ballot questions that will be held at the
We're
town
approving the
election.
warrant, and as part of that, it's also we have to approve
So
the date of
Ryan,
the election.
Ryan, I'm asking you to write the motion, to state the motion.
There's a motion on the floor that's been
I
seconded.
will rescind my motion. You can make the motion.
I rescind my second.
Okay.
So I move to approve, or I move to hold Wellfleet's annual town election on May 19th, 2026. Typically, there's hours for this as well. Do we have the hours?
From 12 o'clock noon to 7 o'clock p.m.
From 12 o'clock to 7 p.m. And this to approve the warrant for said elections.
Second.
Second.
Oh,
John, we didn't get you again.
a roll call vote.
Ryan, I.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, aye.
And John, aye.
Any other business for tonight, Mr. Administrator or Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Tom?
No, nothing more for tonight.
Mr. Chair, I just have one question for the town administrator.
Sure.
The listed salaries that's to be included. Are those retrospective of fiscal year 26, or are those intended to be future?
Those are 26 numbers.
26 numbers, thank you. I think that we should
If
just,
you look at the bottom, there's a denotation of what the dates are from.
okay, thank you
The
very much.
very bottom.
I missed that.
Josh actually raises a good question. So is it included in the, well, I know it's on the ballot, which is helpful. We just had to make sure that they're not included in appendix that basically the town meeting has approved, because at that point the salaries become inflexible. And you know their salaries would be set for the coming fiscal year.
Right.
It's not as in the appendix, Ryan. It's just added.
Okay.
This was a request from June.
Yep, I remember.
And the way it was explained, I thought it was under my administration that we had taken it away, but apparently this hasn't been done since 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate you doing it and putting it together. I think there is, yeah,
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
It
It's fine.
It doesn't lock people in to the previous years.
If I may just make a friendly recommendation, and I can make this edit, Rebecca, when I send it to you, I think I would just put dates at the very top of this table, not the bottom.
Okay.
I just, when I was
I can
reading through,
I'll talk to, we can do that. I'll tell the treasurer we're doing that. It's minor.
Yeah.
So we don't need a motion to include the salaries or anything. That's
No.
okay.
No.
So
I guess I should entertain a motion to adjourn, right?
Mr. Chair, I move that we adjourn.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote.
Ryan, I.
Barbara, I.
Sheila, aye.
Josh, I.
John and I. We'll see everybody tomorrow evening, I guess.
Yep.
Thanks, folks.
Around. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Good discussion.